Welcome back, everyone. We could start with questions for Coach.
Hey, Robert.
Recording in progress.
We'll start off with a couple of quarterback questions. What a shock, right? Is Zach your starter this week? And what's your confidence level in him being able to rebound from yesterday?
I've got full confidence in Zach. We all do. It's not like he hasn't had bad games before, and he's stepped up and has followed it with good days. So, with the way he preps and the way he practices and the questions he asks, we've got faith that he'll continue to find ways to get better.
Robert, the last 2 weeks, Zach has said something along the lines of, he sometimes he gets tired of throwing the ball away because he just wants to make a play. Obviously, you want him to want to make a play, obviously, but what's the balance there of trying to get him to, if there's nothing there, just throw it out?
That's a good question. And that so Friday, fill you guys in on this one. So Friday after practice, CJ Mosley broke the team down. And I thought he said something that was profound. I thought it was very interesting, in that he said that we can't be bored. We can't get bored with being bored, in terms of executing the techniques and doing the small things over and over. You can't get bored doing it. And so that's just one of those things where, it is boring. You break the he does an unbelievable thing of getting out of pressure and finding space, and he looks downfield and there's nothing there. That's okay. Let's go live to play another down, keep the ball in our hands. We'll play the field position battle. Our defense is playing really well. We can run the ball. We can do all those things. So for him, just always that simple reminder, it's okay to be bored. And just to remember that you've got a bunch of guys in that locker room who are pretty good at football too, and they've got your back.
Robert, you've said that several times, that, live to play the next down. Like, you've brought this up many times to him. What do you think it's going to take for Zach to realize, this isn't BYU anymore? This is the NFL.
Time on task, reps. It takes time to he's pressing. It's not that he's pressing. I want to make sure I say this right. He's a young man that wants to prove his worth. And to be honest with you, you can prove your worth by just executing and doing your job to the best of your ability. And we've got full faith in his ability to make off schedule throws. He made that heck of a throw to Garrett to start the game, and that I think it was 54-yarder or whatever it was. So he's shown he did one. He got one with Corey on the boot against Green Bay. So he's capable, but knowing that you don't have to do that all the time.
Robert, you had a pretty good formula there against the Dolphins, Packers, Broncos, right? Good defense, good running game. Zach makes a couple plays a game. It doesn't turn it over. Do you feel like you guys kind of got away from that yesterday? I think you had 15 rushes in the game.
Yeah. You know what? It was before, in normal game situations, you always do a self-evaluation Monday morning. It was 15-13 run to pass in normal football. So first and second down, it was 15-13 run pass before the end of game situation where we're down by 2 scores trying to play catch up. And you can throw in a couple of those passes were RPOs. So they're designed run. So you could easily say 17-11 if he hands the ball off. So you always want to run the ball, and it'll always be a common question when you're losing. Coach, why didn't you run the ball more? That was a question in week 1. That was a question in week 3. No questions over the last 4 weeks because we're in the lead and we're able to just run the ball. So whenever you're losing in the fourth quarter and you've got all those 2-minute plays, we had a 2-minute situation at the end of the half too that we're throwing the ball. So it's always going to tilt it. But ideally, to go back to your question, Brian, is that run game, defense, special teams. Those 3 have got to be the most consistent part of any successful organization. And yesterday, our run game wasn't as good as we wanted to be, and we got our butts kicked on special teams. So,
Robert, I was wondering if you could maybe clarify something from last night a little bit. Can you explain again why the thought process behind moving Mike White up to the second quarterback and Joe becoming the third and all that stuff?
Okay, I'm going to try to explain this one. So don't beat it up too much. But so Mike White is one of our young guys on this football team, and we've seen Joe, we know Joe, we love Joe, and hopefully Zach does not get hurt. But in the event he does get hurt, Mike White is going to get the opportunity because we need to know what we have in Mike. you're still trying to think globally for the organization and all that stuff. And between Mike and Joe, both have had success. Obviously, Joe has had way more success. He's a veteran. He's won a Super Bowl MVP, all that stuff. Where Mike has shown a lot of promise, had really good success against Cincinnati, had a really good first quarter versus Indianapolis before he gets hurt. So you just want to see what else Mike has in the event that opportunity presents itself. Hopefully it doesn't, and Zach stays healthy and he continues to improve and all that stuff. But rather than keep him as the third quarterback, as an inactive quarterback where he knows he's not going to play, we wanted him to play, get those second team reps, let him know that he's next man up. There's a human element to it. You always want to prepare like you're the next man up, but when you're not the next man up, it's different. So now that he knows he's the next man up, we feel like he'll be able to prepare the way he needs to.
So is it about practice, kind of, Robert? Like
it's more about practice. Like rather than I'm going to go hypothetical for you guys, or just let's just pretend for a second Zach gets hurt in Buffalo. And or not Buffalo. We come back from the bye week and it's whatever the next New England game, and Zach gets hurt, God forbid. And Mike White's inactive, and then all of a sudden the next week he jumps all the way up to number one. Like we want him to have some weeks where he can at least prep and prepare. So in the event that did happen, he can be ready to roll.
Can I ask a follow up on that? It sounds like, sorry, Al. I understand what you're saying about that, Robert, but it almost sounds like, you are 5-3. You're in a playoff race, and every game is critical. It's not like last year we were trying to develop young players, and you would, maybe give a guy like Mike White extra reps and so forth. So that's why it seems a little bit unusual. Do you know what I'm driving at? I mean, because
absolutely, I can appreciate that, Rich. We the amount of faith we have in Joe, we have the same amount of faith in Mike. And just giving him that opportunity to run this football team if that opportunity presented. And that's really about it. It's Mike had success running this offense too last year. And if he gets the op, he gets the op. But this is more about just from a coaching standpoint, what we want to do and what we made the decision when Zach came back, and we just felt like it just makes sense to get him going as a second quarterback moving forward.
Robert, was there any thought in bringing Mike in yesterday when Zach was struggling in the second half?
No.
Robert, Jermaine Johnson being inactive yesterday, was that a decision or a football decision?
A little bit of both, in that, he's just had a couple of weeks. Rookies, you guys will be surprised how much they forget when they miss a week. So hopefully he puts together a good week of practice, and we can get him back out there Sunday. So we'll see how this week goes.
And where's Corey at with his knee?
We'll reevaluate him on Wednesday. He's getting better every day, but we'll see. He's going to be more day to day.
What about Max Mitchell? I think he's eligible to come off this week. Is he any closer to returning?
Everyone on IR, with regards to everybody on IR, that includes George, no one's scheduled is going to come off until after the bye week.
Take a few more for Coach. A few more for Coach.
Robert, just going, expanding a little bit there off of what Al had just said, where he had asked, basically if there was any consideration to going to Mike yesterday in lieu of Zach's struggles. Is this something we're moving forward for the rest of this season, whether Zach is playing really, really well or whether Zach is playing really, really poorly? Zach is going to be the quarterback from the first snap until the last snap unless he were to get hurt?
Correct. Is that what you're asking? Yeah,
yes.
Zach's our quarterback.
Robert, trade deadline's in about 24 hours. Do you anticipate you guys being active before the deadline?
Joe will always take phone calls. I know that. But as far as activity, I guess it depends on what the other person's saying.
Do you expect Elijah Moore to still be here tomorrow?
Yep.
Can I follow on Connor's question about Zach? You said he'll be your quarterback for the rest of the year, unless there's an injury, of course. But I'm wondering, as a coach, how you balance that. It seems like a slippery slope because you are in the playoff race and you are 5-3, and your locker room absolutely wants to win now because you have a chance. What if his turnovers become so debilitating that is preventing the team from winning now? I mean,
well, that's hypothetical, right, Rich? So I'm going to go off of past, and that we are 5-3 because he's done a great job taking care of the football and getting us in position to win football games, along with good defense, good run game, good special teams. There's been a really good formula. And so there's no reason why he can't continue that. I mean, the guy's 4-1 coming back as a starter. He does have a lot to do with that, avoiding all the sacks, being able to throw away the ball, keeping us on track, keeping us on schedule. There's a lot of things that don't blow up the stat page, but from a coaching standpoint, there's a lot of things that he's done to keep us at least from imploding. Yesterday was not a good game in terms of just from a decision-making standpoint. He did a lot of good things in the game too. There was a lot of explosive plays that he had and a lot of good things. But those 3 critical mistakes were backbreaking, which he recognizes. And those are the areas where, all right, let's hit the reset button. Let's talk about what we're good at. And just make sure that we're taking care of the football at all costs and being good decision makers, because it's one thing to turn the ball over in the manner which we did yesterday. It's another one where you're just trying to rip a skinny down the seam and the safety plays it unbelievable, steps in front and steals one. You know, it's just but to answer your question, Rich, Zach's a big part of the reason why we are in this position, why nobody would have had us at 5 wins before at this point to start the season, and Zach's a big part of that.
One more quick one. Is that
last one here? Last one here.
Just Robert, I'm not trying to put words in your mouth or anything like that, but it sounds like kind of what you're saying in regards to sticking with Zach moving forward, no matter what, is because you don't necessarily foresee the struggles that happened against New England rearing their, kind of their coming back again and being forward. That his play is going to improve, and that's why you can't imagine letting go or moving on.
100%. Like I think Zach's going to continue to get better. I think he's a lot better than he was a year ago. Like I've told you guys, but he, like everyone, I mean, we can all look in the mirror and look at the decisions we've all made yesterday. We all took turns, whether it was an ill-advised penalty, whether it was special teams play, protection, whatever it was. We've all got to get better. Zach obviously is the quarterback. He's got the ball in his hands. He's the most obvious in terms of being critical on, but he's gotten a lot better. Expect him to continue to get better. Do I expect it all to be clean? No, every quarterback has their days, but he's our quarterback because we think he's going to get better and he's going to continue to prove why he's the number 2 pick.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Coach.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you, everyone. This concludes today's availability.